So now we are going to look at for loops and how do they work and how we can use them in C++. All right. So a for loop is a repetition control structure, just like other loops. And a for loop basically allows you to efficiently write a loop that needs to execute a specific number of times. So if in advance we have any idea that the loop will be executed for 50 times or 100 times or 400 times, in that scenario we can use for loops. All right. To further understand that, we will look at the format of the for loop. And here is the format of the for loop. First of all, we have the reserved word for, and then this part inside the parenthesis that has basically three sections. Okay, so in the first section, the loop variable initialization is basically done here. So the loop variable is initialized here. And in the second section, the condition is checked, the loop condition. All right. That depends upon our requirement, what type of condition we need to use. And then in the third section, the loop variable is incremented. All right. So I hope you understand the three sections of this part. And after that, the loop statements are here. So now the initialization is done for the first time, and then the condition is checked every time. And this incrementation part, this is basically done after the loop statements. Although it is written in the start of the loop, but basically this incrementation is done once the loop statements are executed, and then here the incrementation is done. Okay, so you need to understand it better to get the concept of for loops and how they are working. All right. So next we look at an example of for loop, that is a piece of code written in C++. So here is the header file that supports the scene and cout. And then we have using namespace std. And then we have the main function here. So in this program, what we are doing here is that we are using a for loop. And inside the for loop, we are using a loop variable I, and we are initializing it to 1. All right. And in the second part, we have the condition, and we simply check that I is less than 5. All right. So as long as I is less than 5, this body of loop will be executed. And then we have the increment here, right? So as long as the condition is true, the body of loop will be executed. So for the first time, I is equal to 1 and 1 is less than 5. So the cout statement will be executed and the value of I will be printed on the output screen. And then here I is incremented. All right. Then we again go to the top and check the condition here. So you need to understand that initialization of variable is done for the first time. When the loop will be executed for the second time, we don't need to initialize it again. All right. So for second time, the value of I will become 2 and 2 is less than 5. Yes, true. So the out statement will be executed. And again, we go to top. I is incremented here and now it becomes 3. And now we go to the top and then we check 3 is less than 5. All right. So the condition is true. Again, the cout statement will be executed and I will be incremented here. So now I becomes 4. And again, we go to the top and we will see that 4 is less than 5. Yes, the condition is true. Then again, the cout statement will be executed. And here, the I will be incremented again. So I becomes 5. And as soon as we go to the top and we check the condition, 5 is less than 5. No, the condition is false. So as soon as the condition is false, we will exit the for loop and flow of control comes to the next statement after the loop. So I hope you understand how this for loop is working, and further we will implement that for loop in Dev C++, so you will further understand the working of for loops and how they are working in C++ programming. So now we are going to look at the flow chart of for loops. All right. So now the loop starts here. And first of all, we go to the initialization statement, just like we saw in the previous example that we initialized I is equal to 1. All right. So first of all, initialization is done here. And what is the next step? Then we further move forward and check the condition. If the condition is true, just like in previous example, the condition was I is less than 5. All right. So if the condition is true, then the block of statements inside the loop, they will be executed. And after they are executed, then the incrementation of the loop variable I is done. All right, just like I told you before, that the incrementation of loop variable is not done on the top. It is basically done once the loop statements are executed. And then we do the increment. All right. And then again, flow of control goes to the top of the loop. And now it will not go to the initialization part. Rather, it will again check the condition. So you need to understand that this initialization is done for the first time. After that, it is not done. All right. So again, we go to the top and check the condition. If the condition is true, then again, all of the statements inside the loop, they will be executed. And again, the incrementation is done after that. So as long as the condition remains true, we will move in a cycle like that and we will keep on moving. And as soon as the condition is false, so we will exit for loop and the flow of control will go to the next statement after the loop in a C++ program. All right. So I hope by looking at this figure, you must have understood working of for loop. And once you understand that working better, then we can implement for loops efficiently in our C++ programs.